Good afternoon, friends from Lunch with Farid. Here we go. One more new week. It's a new month. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to introduce you to the person who is going to be joining us today. I think that you're going to be so happy that I did this show today just for you so you can get to know the right people right at the right time, right? So, if you're interested in learning more about your candidates for tomorrow, right, our big special day, every 4 years it happens. So if you're interested in learning more about the importance of your vote and who's going to be out there representing you in the U.S. Representatives, right? So I'm going to introduce you to a candidate who's running for U.S. representative in the 53rd district. So we'll be right back so I can introduce you to her.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way.
All right. I hope you got all pumped up and ready to go. I hope that you got your little drink that you're going to be cheering with, because now I'm going to bring on board our special guest for today. I'm super excited for you to meet her. And so we have a special guest. She is coming on, and her name is none other than Georgette Gomez. Georgette, thank you so much for being on our show. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. It's good to be with you, and I'm excited to be spending the lunch hour with this opportunity to have a great conversation. Yes.
You got something to cheer with? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking some coffee. I have a long day to go, so I gotta keep pumping myself,
Well, cheers with our audience. So hopefully, you're gonna need a lot of coffee.
Yes.
Well, that is so good. I'm so glad to have you here today. I know that, I was so surprised that I was actually get you in the show, because I know that tomorrow is the day you've been working so hard for.
Yeah, it's been about a year, a little bit over a year. So
wow. Well, we're praying hard that you bring it home, and
thank you.
And I want to introduce you to our audience. Just let us know. I'm sure they want to know, who is Georgette Gomez? Why are you on this platform?
Why am I here? Well, for folks that don't know me, I'm a first generation San Diegan, one that actually grew up in Barrio Logan. I'm a daughter of a Mexican immigrant that came to this country. I'm the youngest of three. And really, I've dedicated my entire work's life in trying to influence government to have it be more responsive to the people. And the reason being is because of my upbringing, growing up in Barrio Logan, seeing my parents work multiple jobs just to be able to pay the bills at the end of the month, right? And seeing them struggle, and growing up in a community that, although I love Barrio Logan and I will always call Barrio Logan my place of birth, it's still a community that really had very little representation. At the time when I was growing up there wasn't grocery stores. My grocery store, we would either need to leave our community, or I would go quickly to the liquor store to do the errand for my mom. But communities, I'm a firm believer that all communities deserve equal representation, equal resources that really lead to healthy living. Communities that are living in these communities, they deserve healthy places of working. And so because of it, I decided, and I remember when I decided to do this, to really dedicate my life to public service. So I started as a community organizer, fighting for environmental justice, meaning that, in communities of color, low income communities, the air quality tends to be unhealthier, more polluted, impacting people's health, especially children and also our elders. And, I think we can do better. We can do better. We are a wealthy society. We are a wealthy region, a wealthy city. So because of that experience of growing up in Barrio Logan, really, my trajectory and wanting to come back to my community and try to influence the future of it, and making sure that other children have better access to healthier food, or just better access to healthier conditions, so they can be their best self.
That's so
Um,
great that you say that.
yeah,
For a lot of people that don't know where Barrio Logan is, right? Barrio Logan is the right pronunciation, because I
Barrio
know
Logan.
I have all my other friends right now saying, roll your R's. They know that we
Yes.
always do. But Barrio Logan it's a pretty nowadays, right? It's a pretty nice tourist area. A lot of people that come to the San Diego, California area, because a lot of people watch us from all over the nation. Um,
Right.
it's a Hispanic community, and I know that there's a special park that kind of depicts that history of
Yep.
our culture. Me being from Latino descent as well. So I know that a lot of the people that grew up in Barrio Logan, they're in love with their community, and they continue
Mhm.
to come back and help.
Yeah.
Um, what was it that I know that you're doing a lot of great things for the community. I've been reading your trajectory for about a year, as I had mentioned before.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you just said right now, I know you're working for working families,
Yeah.
families like myself. I'm a mom. I raise two beautiful daughters, two sons, and well, I don't raise them anymore. They're out of the house, but my two daughters I'm still raising.
You
And
got your seed.
yeah, and you know what? I gotta tell you, we need more people advocating for the families. But what are
Mhm.
some of the things that define you right now in this race? I know that you're running for the 53rd district, which is most of San Diego, right? East of the 805, up to maybe north of San Diego. So whoever doesn't know, just Google what the 53rd district is, and they'll know. But in San Diego, what are you looking to accomplish for families like your family or my family?
Yeah. So I mean, right now I'm the council president to the city of San Diego. I get to represent the Mid City area as the council representative. The Mid City area includes San Diego State, City Heights, Kensington, Talmadge. So that whole area, right, and it goes even further south, Mount Hope, South Crest. So I get to represent a very diverse district, and now I would love to have the honor to represent the 53rd congressional district in the U.S. Congress, which includes La Mesa, partial El Cajon City, Spring Valley, Lemon Grove, Western East Chula Vista, and partial city of San Diego, from Old Town all the way to San Diego State. Some of the older communities in the city of San Diego. Um, and for me, really, it's been about really fighting to create a government. And I believe every level of government, local, state, the federal government, really needs to be responsible to the majority of the people. We have a, even right now, we're going, because of COVID and because of the economic crisis, we're seeing how our society is working, right? Those families that are, basically struggling monthly, living a paycheck away from losing everything, and, being on the streets. This country needs to do better in making sure that those conditions are changing. Those conditions are no longer a reality. So I've been fighting for housing affordability, especially in California. It's getting really expensive, and we really need to prioritize this issue, or else California, San Diego region is going to be, it's going to look completely different. It's just going to be the top 1%, right? The wealthy that
Right.
can afford to live in California, that can afford to live in our San Diego region. And I don't want that to happen. And I don't think it should happen. So I've been fighting very hard as a council president, and really moving our city and addressing the housing affordability issues. And I would love to go to DC to continue fighting for that fight, bring the resources that we need in our region to truly build more housing that is affordable to San Diegans. Um, I'm a firm believer that we need to uplift our community by creating better jobs that are lifting people from poverty, and really creating medium income jobs that people can stop struggling. And all of that is because that's my experience. That's where I come from. My parents, when I was growing up, they had multiple jobs. And there was a point in my life where we actually couldn't afford our rental, so we had to double up with another family in our home for a family of five. And I was a young kid, was the living room, right? And those are still realities that still happen in the current situation right now. We still have families that are living in under those conditions. And I tend to believe that in a country, in California, so wealthy, we have the fifth economy nationwide, right? And we still have these inequities of income. And I just believe that the power of government and what it can do, it can, if we had better priorities, if we had the priorities of the people,
Right.
then we would have a different society. And I'm a firm believer that we can make it happen. And I would love to have that opportunity to tackle those issues.
Wow, Georgette, that's big. You make me so proud to be Latina. Make me so
Thank
proud
you.
to also have grown up in a family where my mother, being a single mom of four kids, had 2 to 3 jobs at a time. And if you know a little bit about my story, that is why I got into teaching financial literacy. It
Yeah,
was
it's important. Yeah,
Yes, it was more the reason why I started doing that. It was more because I wanted to get to the root of the problem. I didn't
yep.
want to solve what was on top, right? Like getting
Mhm.
somebody a better job. No, teaching them how
Right.
to actually manage whatever it is that they're making, whether you're a
Mhm.
family that makes a little money or a family that makes a lot of money. If
Yep.
you do not know how money works, obviously it doesn't matter how
It
much you
doesn't
make,
matter.
still
Yeah.
not going to keep it, keep
Yeah.
track of it. So
No, that's important. That's
yeah,
definitely critical.
so I'm in that mission. If I had an opportunity to take that to DC, I
Hey, why not? Right?
would
I think
make
it's
it
critical.
mandatory for
Yep.
high school students graduating or your first class in college to
Yeah, it
learn
should be
how to
part
manage.
of it.
Yeah. So maybe once you're in office, because I'm so confident that you're going to do awesome in this election, we'll
Thank
talk a
you.
little bit more about that.
Most
But
definitely.
the message is that how does a person, because I'm so proud of who you are and what you're doing,
Thank you.
wanting to go to the major leagues, right, to
Yeah,
DC and be the voice for us, that just makes me love you even more. You're already a lovable person, so
thank you.
I'm so glad. We have somebody asking a question, so maybe you'd like to address this. It says, how will we solve the homeless situation in San Diego? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I definitely been doing a lot of work right now as a member of the city council, and trying to do things differently. At the end of the day, it really does come down to needing to make sure that we're building more permanent supportive housing for the folks living in the streets. And what does that mean? That means we need a roof to be able to put them in, but they also need supportive services to be able to restore their lives, to be able to get them back, and be able to figure out what best works for them. There's, because we have all sorts of folks living in the streets. People think a certain mentality, right, of people living in the streets. Well, that's not the case. We definitely have all sorts of folks living in the streets. I can tell you that, I've encountered folks that actually work for the city of San Diego, in our park and rec center. I actually encountered this gentleman who works in City Heights Rec Center, who told me that he was living in his vehicle because he couldn't afford it. He was only part time for the city of San Diego, so he wasn't full time. I'm assuming that he wasn't making enough to be able to pay a rent. So I really want people to see people that are living in the streets as people, and we really need to stress that. And how we resolve the issues is we need to be able to build more housing and be able to have the supportive support, which is what we refer to as housing first model. The city of San Diego has pivoted significantly these past 2 years, and actually because of COVID, I would say that this year has been very transformative in how we are approaching the situation. We just acquired less than a month ago, and we're hoping to open them up at the end of the year. We acquired two motels that would are going to be transformed to housing. We are projecting about placing about 400 folks. That could be families or individuals into these new homes. We have seriously partnered with the county to be able to provide the necessary health and also the care that the folks might need to be able to restore their lives. So that's very significant because
That is.
these are already units that are built. I mean, they were built to serve the tourism industry, right? The motels, but we can transform them very quickly and make them to be homes in a very fast manner. So I'm excited that we're exploring this new tool that we just identify as a tool because of the economic crisis and because our tourism industry is hurting. These motels right now are not getting people in them. So also the businesses that the owners that own them are also hurting financially. So it's a win-win here. And like I said, we acquired two. We were able to get state money to be able to do it, and we were able to couple a little bit of the money that we're getting at the federal level. So this is where all levels of government came together to be able to do this. I want to go to Congress because now I see where the gaps are at the local level. So in order for us to resolve this issue in the real way, we need the federal government to step up in a major way. And if they don't, then we're just going to continue moving one thing to resolve this, but there's a gap over here. So we can't, that's not a real solution. I mean, right now we're just figuring it out, but we know at the end of the day that we need more resources. We need more resources to be able to get the type of housing that we need. We need more resources to ensure that the community is supported with mental services, with healthcare services, with, at times just even getting their driver's license can be transformative to someone living in the streets. Getting
Yeah.
their birth certificate can be very transformative. So it's little things here and there, but we need the resources to be able to hire the right people, to have the right support. And for me, knowing that where the gaps are now at the local level, this is why I'm excited to be able to represent our community in DC, our region, because I already know what my marching orders are. I know where San Diego stands and what we need from DC to be able to resolve these issues. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Well, that's great work. I'm so excited about that program, and congratulations on accomplishing those
Yeah.
two hotels for our homeless people. Sometimes we go through the streets and we see them, we kind of are used to seeing them, and we don't even think of all those essentials that you just mentioned
Mhm.
that could just make the difference in their
Yeah.
lives. So
Right.
that's amazing. Now, so I know that your mission is to bring a strong voice to DC.
Yes.
And you're going to do such a great job representing us there. What do you think is a common person, all of us that are watching, whether you're in San Diego or outside San Diego, we go through the streets, we see people on the streets, right? Is there
Mhm.
something where we can just grab somebody and take them to those, like those places that you just say, or is there a website where they come in and sign up for these benefits?
Yeah, no, and that's the unfortunate thing, right? So we have identified that as being a shortfall,
Okay.
um, and that's something that we're working on creating right now. What we have for the community is people can call 211, and they get a referral to the services that are available. But we're trying to figure out a better system. So right now, I can tell you this. I can tell you that because of COVID, the city of San Diego decided to open up the convention center, right? Where we were able to use that space to provide a safe separation bed for people living in the street. So we've been, putting a lot of people in the convention center. What it also allowed us to do, though, and this is where it's been, I guess, a blessing within this turbulent moment that we're living through because of COVID, that it really forced a lot of the agencies that before we were still struggling and finding out ways in which we can work together. So right now, the convention center, we were able to bring on board all the entities that do work for the community, for the people living in the streets, are right now housed under one roof, and that is very critical because if the person is there, we can figure out, okay, if the issue that you're having is you don't have your birth certificate, so because of it you can't get your driver's license, then let us work with you, and right there, go to that table, they're going to be able to work with you, right? Or if you're just struggling and you need some mental support, we have the services on the next table. Or if it's you just need to apply for your social security card, then you can apply in the third table. So
Wow,
that's been
that's
very, very transformative in how we've been able to really create that synergy. And right now, because of it, we've been exploring how we can continue that once we bring back the convention center to its original use, so we can't have this type of usage anymore.
right.
But how do we continue that to continue moving forward, right? So we're still trying to figure that out. And one of those things also, that's where we identify we're really needing to figure out, okay, because right now it's easy to just go to the convention center and get all of those different supports because they're all under one roof. But we also have identified, okay, we need to have, if someone's in the streets and they need help, where do they start, right? Where do they, who do they call, where do they start? So not knowing where to call, I mean, we're so used to calling 911 for issues,
Right.
right? That's not a number to call for this.
Wow.
But
It's
right now,
211, right?
yes, 211.
211.
211, yes. And we're hoping that maybe in the future we will have our own system that is tied
Right.
to all of this. So that's what we're working towards. The 211 is
And,
interim right now, but right
okay.
now 211.
All right. So if I'm on the street, I could tell this person on the street to call 211 or go to
Yeah.
the convention center. And that will be probably your good deed of the day if you can just direct somebody to do it. So anybody watching. Now we do have Celestia asking, is there a plan for branching out into cities that are further from major, farther away from major cities, to help low-income families and people in need where these resources are lacking? Is there a plan? Because I know your work really is going to start after somebody gets elected, I'm
Right,
sure. So
right,
do you have
right.
anything to contribute to this question?
Well, I mean, there is a platform where, let me start by saying that, a lot of it right now, the major commitments that are occurring around this, around our homeless residents, are really more on the city of San Diego and the county. And other cities kind of have been, wanting to be responsive, but we still need to build a political will from other cities, because it's the boundaries sometimes can be very murky, right? And people don't know. You might be in La Mesa and you don't know that, that's the city of La Mesa. Sometimes people think, oh, that's the city of San Diego. Well, no, it isn't. So we really need to figure out where we can really bring the whole region together, and the electeds that have been elected to really try to grapple on this issue, and have that real commitment as a whole. So we're still working on that. There are some there are some tables right now that folks are at, that we're discussing. Like, there's the regional task force, that the county, the city of San Diego, and I believe other cities are part of. That right now they're working on creating a regional plan on what it looks like for the whole region, but that's still being discussed and it's being worked on. There's no real commitment. Like, one of the things is this possible future resource number where everybody can, ask people to call, a regional database too. And so we're working on little things that we can all agree on. The major challenge is that, I'm going to go back to my first statement. The What we need is a couple of things. We need more units that are available for people, right? We need more, whether it being acquiring hotels, motels, or having to build new units. And we also need more mental health beds, meaning hospitals that are agreeing to bring in more beds that are dedicated to some of the population, because they need more extra support. And just giving them a home is not enough. They need actual physical support.
Correct.
And we don't have a lot of that either. The one challenge that we have in building housing is that everybody wants us to resolve this issue, but nobody wants it in their backyard, right?
Right.
Nobody wants
I've
it.
heard that before. I've
Nobody
definitely
wants it
heard
in their block. So I really, and in the reason that I stated earlier, that I want us to challenge ourselves, because these could be our own relatives living in the streets. These are people. And when we're trying to figure out ways and to resolve this, it's not rocket science. It really is. We need more units, and we need the supportive services, and we need resources to be able to do those two things, right?
that. Of
But
course.
we also need people to step up. We need communities to step up, to say, okay, we're willing to do it, we're willing to take it, because it's important. And we still need to do some work on that, because I can tell you the two motels that we were able to acquire, the community came against it. And us elected, and I'm very proud of the mayor, I'm very proud of the council that said, no, we're going to move forward. But people came and spoke and say, no, although we are so sensitive to the community, and we are so sensitive, we know that we need to resolve the issue, but not here. Do it somewhere else. And we
Oh,
hear that
wow.
constantly. We hear that constantly.
Well,
So I
that sounds
really,
very fake to
no,
me.
yeah, and I
If
just,
you're willing to help, you got to be able to
you
even
gotta be
in
able
your
to do
backyard.
it, right? So it's just another
Yeah.
thing that we need to work through, because it's if we're really serious about wanting to resolve this, the answer is not, and this is, I say this because sometimes people want us to do this, is put them behind jail, right? It's just like, that's not the answer. It
No,
really
no.
isn't. And I mean, once again, these are human beings. These are
Absolutely.
people that went through something that a tough time, and whatever, for whatever reason their journey led them to just lose everything, and
Yeah.
that impact them. Sometimes people take it more seriously, and it becomes more mental, and it takes you to different patches of life, and
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that we can see people for who they are and try
And
to resolve
and
it.
like you said, Georgette, sometimes, we never think that it's going to happen to us. We never
Yeah,
think that it's going to happen to our brothers or our fathers or
yeah.
our sons. But
Yeah.
um,
I had an experience. I last during the primary, I had my office in Lemon Grove by the lemon, by the
okay.
trolley. There's
Mhm.
apartments there. And my friend that built that apartment rented me the first floors as office space. And I met this gentleman who was living in the streets, and he would always hang out there. So one time I stopped and I told him, "Hey, what's your story? Because I see you here, and I want to know what's your story." He's like,
Right.
"Yeah, well, I live in the streets," and I knew that. But he told me, and I asked him, "Would you mind sharing how did you end up living in the streets?" Um, and he told me, "Well, I lost my wife, and I that he was actually an engineer,
Wow.
came from wealth. He had wealth, and his wife got really sick, so he had to let go of his job to be able to take care of his wife. And then eventually she passed away, and that triggered something in him where he actually just couldn't. He couldn't handle it, and he ended up losing everything. He was ashamed to reach out to his children, and he ended up in the streets.
Wow.
And this is a man that was an engineer, right? Well educated. He had a well paying job, and the situation just led him to
Right.
be in the streets. So we ended up helping him and getting him some support. But that's just a reminder that we never know. We don't know, and the
Never,
situations can lead to
never
another. So
will know.
we
Well,
just,
and the way to change that is to show up tomorrow, go vote
yes,
if you haven't done it, right? So I know that there's still time to register. So if you
yeah.
haven't registered to vote,
Yeah, people,
register.
if you're not registered to vote, you can actually go to any polling location and say, "Hey, you can register on the spot, and you can also vote the day of." So people, you can, you'll be able to register tomorrow. You have until the polls open at 7 in the morning, and they close at 8 p.m. If you're still waiting, if it's getting close to 8 p.m., and that's when you can go, you're waiting online, don't leave. You're still, as long as you're there by 8 p.m., you can come in and into the polls, register to vote, and vote the day of. It's important. It's important for people to register and truly participate. It's a critical election this year.
That's right. That's right. It's going to mark precedence for a lot of people.
Hmm.
And so we're excited for you. Jorge is sending you best luck wishes for tomorrow.
Thank you, Jorge.
And of course, we want to celebrate with you because I know that you are our voice. You are the voice of those who, we're not multimillionaires. We're not the big dogs,
No.
in the neighborhood. And I think a lot of people do require somebody strong and do require somebody who has been there in the trenches with them. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much.
Can you believe we ate up 30 minutes
That
already?
was fast. That was fast. But I'm
But
excited. I'm excited to be in this journey. I'm excited to have been a candidate. And obviously, I'll be more ecstatic if we succeed tomorrow, when we do succeed, and making sure that I take this fight of justice, of inclusion, someone from the frontera, someone from the border, from Barrio Logan, to be a congressional member. To me, I'm very humble to be in this journey. a lot of responsibility, but responsibility that I'm, ready to step up for the community, for this region. And I just want to tell folks to make sure that you please go out and vote. It is a very critical election year. We cannot afford to sit this one out. It is time that we turn out. It is time that we utilize the power of voting, because it's very critical. Our future is dependent on our participation, and those that are lucky enough to be able to vote, please show up. It's our communities needed. Our community members that are not lucky to be able to vote are needing you to vote. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for being with us. Keep us. I mean, we'll follow all the way through, and come back once you're
Most definitely
in office, because we
Most
want to know
definitely.
what's next for you. Of course, we want to give you all our support, all our love, all our prayers. I'll be praying for you all night today, because I know
Thank you.
tomorrow will be, extreme, and we do want our voices heard. So we can do it through you. So everybody, please follow her. I think your website is GeorgetteGomez.org, right?
Yes, GeorgetteGomez.org. We are on Facebook, on Twitter. I have a personal Instagram, but my personal has become my political. So there's no personal here. Everything is available for folks to be a part of this journey. And thank you so much. I really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Stay backstage for me. I'm going to send everybody off, and I'll come back to tell you what my gift is going to be for you.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Monday, same time. And Frank is telling you best luck. Everybody's telling you best luck. So
Thank
here we
you.
go.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way.